हरि ओम। ओम श्री गणेशाय नमः। ओम श्री हिरण्यगर्भाय नमः। ओम श्री महाविष्णवे नमः। ओम श्री महादेवाय नमः। ओम श्री महादुर्गाये नमः। ओम श्री राम रामाय नमः। ओम श्री सद्गुरवे नमः। ओम सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांतिः। ओम गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ओम नमः शिवाय 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 ओम नमः शिवाय। नमः पार्वती पतये हर हर महादेव। हरि ओम हरि ओम। And Teachers' Day greetings to you all. May the Guru Shishya Parampara bless you all. Jai Shri Ram. Hari Om. We are seeing this beautiful chapter, the 9th chapter of Gita, Raja Vidya Raja Guhya Yoga, the royal knowledge, the royal secret. In this, Bhagavan reveals his nature, his Swarupa as Brahma, and his Rupa as Ishvara, as Hiranyagarbha, as Vaishvanara, as this entire world. Bhagavan's Rupa are many, his Swarupa is one. By his own greatness, by his own power, though one, he appears like many. And he alone is there as our own self. So when we recognize ourselves, when we realize ourselves, we realize Ishvara alone. We only know our own presence, but we don't know our identity. Just as when we see a object, let us say we see a new fruit, we can see it. We can see the shape, we can see the color, we know its presence, but we don't know what it is. Similarly, all of us, we know our own presence, but we don't know that we are that Brahma. So with the guidance of our teachers and with the guidance of our Shastras, we should realize that I am that Brahma, Aham Brahmasmi. And this whole world, everything is a play of this Brahma. Everything is the Leela of that Brahma. So Bhagavan says that I alone am there in the yajna, in every activities. In whatever way you worship me, it will reach me. Akashat patitam toyam yatha gacchati sagaram sarvadeva namaskaram keshavam pratigacchati. Just as when it rains, though it rains all over the globe, but all the waters finally reach the ocean. Similarly, we worship different expressions of Ishvara and do namaskar, but all our namaskars finally reach Ishvara alone. Bhagavan says, I am the father, the mother, the grandfather of this world. I alone am nourishing this world. I am the supremely pure Omkara. I alone should be known. I alone am the Rig Ved, Yajurved, Samaved, Atharvaved. I am the destination of Gati of all the beings. I am the master of this creation, the witness, the abode for all to reside. I am the ultimate refuge. I am the well-wisher of all beings. In me the world gets created, is sustained in me and get dissolved in me. I am the very nidhana of all the repository, the place where all the karmas resides. I am the very bija, seed, eternal seed of this entire world, of all beings. Through me only they grow, they are sustained, and then they get dissolved in me. So we have to tune ourselves to Ishvara. We have to tune to Ishvara's Swarupa. We have to tune to Ishvara's Rupa. See, just as when we hear lot of sound, lot of noise, and suppose somebody is singing, but the noise is also there. But with our power of attention, we can tune our hearing to that song. Similarly, lot of noise, lot of distractions are there in this world, but with the help of our sadhana, our upasana, we should tune to Ishvara. We should be able to hear Ishvara. We should be able to see Ishvara. We should be able to smell Ishvara, taste Ishvara, touch Ishvara. We should be able to feel Ishvara, know Ishvara, and meditate on Ishvara. That's called tuning. So Bhagavan says, I am present everywhere in every way. You can just look at the whole world with a divine vision and you will see me everywhere. So some more vibhutis Bhagavan now reveals in the following verses. We'll chant verse number 19. Tapamyaham varsham निगृह्णाम्युश्सृजामि च अमृतं चैव मृत्युश्च सदसश्चाहम अर्जुन. भगवान से तपामि अहम, अहम वर्षम, निगृणामि उत्सृजामि च, अमृतं च एव मृत्युश्च सद सद सत असच्च अहम अर्जुन. हे अर्जुन, I alone tapami, I alone what you call heat up the whole world with my scorching rays from as the sun. I send heat on this earth and scorch the whole earth. Tapami aham. We see during summers and all, it becomes so hot everywhere. The rays of the sun are so powerful. Though the sun is existing so far away from earth, but that power is there, that it scorches the earth. So tapami aham. And when Bhagavan does that, the entire creation becomes so hot, so restless. And we pray that, oh Bhagavan, please bless us with some showers, some rains. Then Bhagavan, by his kripa, he blesses the earth with varsha, with the showers, cool showers. It starts raining. So varsham. So it rains for 3-4 months, it keep on raining. And then again Bhagavan withdraws this rain. He takes all the, he evaporates lot of waters from this earth. So nigrunami. And then again after 8 months, Bhagavan again pours those waters on earth. So ushrujami. Ushrujami means he pours, showers. Nigranami means he restrains, takes away all the water, restrains and pours it. See, if you just observe the earth, it's the most fascinating planet. On this, in our solar system itself, there are mighty planets, giants, like the Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune. They are huge giants of planets. But they are gaseous planets, lot of gas. No one can live on those planets. Maybe some creatures might be living, I don't know. But they are very vast, huge planets. And the seasons which they happen there is unimaginable. Tornadoes and winds and so much of things are happening on these planets. Then there are other planets, inner planets, like our Mercury is there, Venus is there, Mars is there. Smaller planets compared to the giants like Jupiter and all. But that Venus also, nobody can live there. All acids and methane and all sorts of gases are there. No one can survive. No one means the beings as we know on earth cannot survive. On Mars they are sending lot of rovers and other vehicles to check how the climate is, whether there are any living creatures there, how it is, how it has become like this now. Even Mercury is so close to sun that it gets a lot of heat from the sun. So among all these planets in our solar system, the most beautiful and the most wonderful is our own home, this planet Earth, Prithvi. From outer space, they have taken pictures and all, it looks so pretty. Blue with the oceans. Those who have gone in space, the astronauts, they describe their own experience that when we are on this earth living, we have all sorts of divisions of nations, divisions of states, division based on our religion, caste, creed, culture. This is mine, this is yours. But when they left this earth and they started moving up in sky, in space, and when they looked back on earth, they saw the whole earth as one unit. It's like a one home, without any divisions, without any man-made divisions on earth. Looking very pretty, very beautiful. So on this earth, also because of the right placement of earth from the sun and the perfect placement of the moon and the rotation of the sun and the rotation of the earth and the revolution of the earth, and due to all these waters on earth, there are these beautiful seasons which we experience on earth. Shishira Vasanto Punarayataha. Different types of seasons are there. Winter, summer, autumn, fall, rainy season. Different seasons. All Rutus, Varsha Rutu, Vasanta Rutu. All different Rutus which are there, which we experience. All this is possible because of the right placement and the right, everything is so perfect. If the moon was not there, if moon were not to be there, it would have been even impossible for life to be on earth. So the right place where the moon is there, which gives rise to the different tides also, and so many things happen. Earth is very active. Geologically it is very active. All the continents also keep on moving. Once upon a time they were all together, now they have separated. So many things happen on earth. But our Shastras, they say, all this happens by the blessings of Ishvara alone. Ishvara, Hiranyagarbha, Vaishvanara, and all those Devatas are there who are managing the whole show of this entire creation. We may not understand the complexities of all this, but that is what is said in our Shastras. So Bhagavan says, Tapami aham, I only heat up the whole earth with my rays through the sun, and aham varsham, and I shower the world with rains. I only withdraw all the waters and again pour the waters on earth. So all these things happen because of this only the life becomes possible on earth. Bhagavan says, I alone am there. Therefore we should see Bhagavan's presence in the different seasons also. Not only during the day, during the night, but during the various seasons which we come. So in our tradition, we celebrate the various seasons. Vasanta Ritu when it comes, or Varsha Ritu when it comes. And different maas, Shravan maas, Bhadrapa, Chaitra, Ashad. So many. Then different types of festival happens in different maas. All this we celebrate. Through all this we are celebrating the presence of Ishvara only in our life. Bhagavan says, I alone am Amrutam. Amrutam, a long life. Long life for whom? For the Devtas and all. See, we have seen the Devtas. Like 33 types of Devtas are there, and so many other Devtas are there. So in one Manvantara, the Devtas are born, their lifespan is one Manvantara, then they die, then another set of Devtas they are born. But this one Manvantara is a long period, about 71 Chaturyugas. 71 Mahayugas make up one Manvantara. So that much, those many years these Devtas they live. Therefore they are called Amrutam. They are long living, almost immortal compared to our life. But our life is very, very short. Therefore this life on earth is called, this earth itself is called Mrityu Loka. The world of mortals. Though some creatures they stay for a long time, some for a short time, but every one they are born and they die. So it's a world of mortality. So that Mrityu, Bhagavan says, is also my Rupa. I am not only Amrit, but I am the Mrityu, the death also. Death is also Bhagavan's Rupa only. Sadasachaham Arjuna. Bhagavan says, I am Sat and I am Asat. Sat means the manifested world is called Sat. Here in this context, all that is manifest is called Sat. And the cause of this, the Avyakta Prakriti of Bhagavan, is called Asat, unmanifest. So Bhagavan says, I alone am Sat and I alone am that Asat. I alone am the effect and I am the cause. Both cause and effect are my Rupa only. So we should be able to see the presence of Ishvara in everything. In the day, in the night, in all the seasons, in life, in death, in all that is manifest, in that which is unmanifest, everywhere Ishvara alone is present. Everything is a play of that supreme Ishvara alone. So one who recognizes Ishvara and keeps him all the time in the mind while living in this world, that is the Upasana. And such Upasana purifies our mind, and even at the time of death we will be able to remember Ishvara, and when we leave this world, leave this body, drop this gross body, we will attain Ishvara, we will attain moksha. But those who don't understand Ishvara, those who don't have love for Ishvara, those who are only looking at fulfilling their immediate desires, not only they work towards fulfilling their desires in this world, but they also strive to fulfill their desires through the various rituals so that they can go to higher world and gain some more pleasures there. The scriptures talk about Svargalok. They also talk about the Naraka, different types of Narakas, and Swarga. So all pleasures and subtler what joys are there present in Swarga Loka. There is no fear of death. There is no fear of disease. There is no fear of any pandemic in Swargalok. So many desire Swargaloka. So that lot of punya they acquire on this earth and they want to go to Swargaloka. So here Bhagwan talks about them. He says even if you attain that Swargaloka, that is also temporary only. Bhagwan says, Traividya mam somapa putapapah yajñerištva swargatim prarthayante te punyamasadya surendralokam ashnanti divyan divideva bhogan te tam bhuktva swargalokam vishalam क्षीणे पुण्ये मर्त्यलोकं विशन्ति एवं त्रैधर्म्यमनुप्रपन्नाः गतागतं काम कामा लभन्ते. Bhagavan says that those dharmic people, those who have faith in the Vedas, they are called astik. Astik means those who have faith, astha in the Vedas and all the Shastras related to the Vedas, our Dharma Shastra, our Puranas, Itihas, Smritis. Those who have faith in this Shastra and they tune their living according to the guidance of the Shastras, they are called astik and they are dharmic people. But these dharmic people also may not have moksha as their ultimate goal. They have desires, dharma, artha, kama, desire to gain prosperity in this world and pleasures and comfort in this world, protection and all the blessings in this world, but they also desire that their next life also become better and they desire to go to higher worlds like Swarga Loka because there are no trouble in Swarga Loka. See, just as in this world also, people, they if they find a place very difficult to live, they try to shift to another place, to a better city or to a better country. They say, oh, I can go and settle in that country. I can try to get some special benefit there. I will get a green card and I will become the citizen of that country later and then settle there. So similarly, those who are religious, they have these ambitions that let me go to Swarga and stay there for a long time comfortably. No worries about old age, death, disease, pain, fear, struggle. All these things are not there in Swarga. All pleasures are there and special pleasures. Not pleasures which are attained here, but more intense pleasures. Not ordinary pleasures. and this gross physical body is not there. They get separated from the gross body and get a special bhoga sharir, special subtle body which is conducive to different types of bhoga. So who goes to this Swarga? Bhagavan says Traividya, those who are knowers of these Vedas, 3 Vedas, but 3 includes the 4th also. So Rig Ved, Yajurved, Samaved, Atharvaved. The Vedas not only talk about Brahma, the supreme reality, but that is spoken about in the Upanishads. But in the vast major portion of the Vedas, they talk about the various upasanas, the various rituals, the various karmas which we can do to fulfill our desires year and year after. The various rituals which will help us to accumulate a lot of punya. So those who know this and sincerely follow this karma mentioned in the Vedas, they are called the Traividya, knowers of the 3 Vidyas. Traividya Mam Somapaha. The Vedas also talk about the various rituals, and one of the limb of these rituals is to also drink Soma Rasa. Soma, some type of herb which is part of the ritual. To drinking that also is part of that ritual, which purifies the mind, purifies our antakarana, purifies the body, and tunes the person to do this ritual. So the drinkers of Soma Paha, and through these various rituals, Puta Papaha, they have destroyed the papa. Some of the rituals are specially meant to eliminate all our papa. Some prayashchit karma or some other karmas are there which help to eliminate the papa. So those who have purified themselves through this karma kanda, so puta papaha yajnaihi ishtva swargatim prarthayante. So through various yajnas, fire rituals, some of them mentioned in even the Kathopanishad, where Nachiketa, when he approached Yamrajji, Nachiketa requested Yamrajji for the welfare of the world. That ritual, when we do it, we can go to Swarga. And Yamrajji tells him about it, and he names it as Nachiketa Agni. So one who does all this ritual properly as guided by the Shastra, one can do oneself, or one does it with the help of some Purohit. So when a person does this regular ritual, Yajnaihi Ishtva, through Yajna, when he worships those Devatas, Indra and other Devatas, and with what intention? Swargatim prarthayante, desiring and praying for Swarga. Praying for Swarga. See, you find many people, though living in this country and working here, but simultaneously they will be contacting various people abroad, or trying to find out from here also how they can get a visa in that to go to that other country and settle there. And from here itself they will apply for various jobs in the other country. So looking at them, one may feel that, oh, he is staying here in Lajpat Nagar only, going to his work every day, but in his head he is planning to go to some other country. And once everything gets settled, he is gone. अरे वो शर्मा जी कहाँ है? नहीं गए, चले गए, विदेश गए, विदेश गए, वहीं पर सेटल हो जाएंगे. Similarly, there are people who will stay here on earth, but they plan to go to Swarga. And to go to Swarga, we have to make proper application to Indra Bhagwan. He is the boss of Swarga. So Indra Bhagwan ko please करने के लिए we have to do the various rituals and also please all the devatas also and do proper all these things, because these are all requirement. So when we do all this, our visa gets stamped, we get proper permission. So when they have fulfilled all these conditions, then after that they go to this Svargaloka. The devatas who manage this path, we have seen Dakshinayan Marga and all. So this path, the devatas, they lead them towards this Svargaloka. So te punyam asadhya, so having acquired lot of punya, punya karma they are called. See, when we perform action, we get the result, either immediately or in future. So when we perform these dharmic rituals and all which are mentioned, all these karmas get accumulated, a punya, and at the right time they start giving the result. So having acquired lot of punya, they punyam asadhya Surendra lokam ashnanti, they go to Surendra loka, the world of Indra, who is the lord of all the devatas, Indra Bhagwan, that Svargaloka, they go there, Divyan Divideva Bhogan, and Ashnanti Divyan Divideva Bhogan, and there they enjoy Deva Bhogan, the divine pleasures which are available only in Swarga, such divine pleasures which are enjoyed by all the devatas and all, these people, the jivas who reach that place, they also enjoy. See, many people, they feel that, oh, there is no Swarga, there is no Naraka, everything is here on earth only. If there is lot of misery, then it is hell. If there is lot of joy, then there is Swarga. No doubt, there is lot of suffering here on earth, and there is lot of pleasure also, which one gains on earth. But that doesn't mean there is no Swarga or there is no Naraka. We can understand it. In fact, we can understand if we contemplate and even think on our swapna, our dream. A very interesting experience we get when we dream. See, when we are awake, let us do some thinking, When we are awake, we experience this waking world, this physical world. We experience the world outside, which is made up of Akash, Vayu, Agni, Jal, Prithvi, the 5 great elements. And we interact with this world. And as we interact with this world, we experience the joys and sorrows in this world. Okay? Now, when we sleep, what happens? Our karmendriyas get withdrawn and our jnanendriyas get withdrawn into our antakarana. And we get separated from our physical body. We cannot see, hear, taste, touch our physical body. We cannot think about our physical body. Our mind, our intellect, our senses, our karmendriyas get separated from the physical gross body. The body is lying there on the bed, but you are dreaming that you are walking, you are jogging, you are jumping, and you are unaware of your body, physical body, absolutely unaware. Not only unaware of the body, but unaware of the world. It is night time, but you dream as though it is a daytime there. So we get separated from our physical body when we dream. But as I had mentioned before, that the physical world is managed by Vaishvanara. Vaishvanara is the real doer of all actions in the physical waking world. So, when we withdraw from our physical body, but the physical body continues to exist. So Vaishvanara, through the pranas, maintain the physical body. So our breathing in the physical body continues to happen. I am not there. But the breathing, I am not there means the mind, intellect, everything is withdrawn. The breathing continues to happen. The circulation, digestion also continues to happen. The body continues to grow. Growth also happens. So the pranas are functioning and maintaining the body. But I, who was awake and thought that I am doing everything, I am not doing anything in the physical body. This itself shows that everything is done by Vaishvanara alone. Then when I withdraw, then in the dream, only my antakarana is active. My mind is active, means antakarana. The senses and the karmendriyas are withdrawn into the antakarana. So whatever is there in the antakarana, the samskar, that gets that becomes active in the dream. Means all my memories and the samskars which are there, they get active. And I just keep witnessing them. I see them. I become the seer of my dream. Not a doer, seer. That sense of doership is dropped. I only see my dream. Therefore, in our Hindi language also we say, "Maine sapna dekha." I saw. I don't say that I was doing something, but I just see the dream. So even the body which we see in our dream, even when we are walking and seeing and tasting and touching, all these are nothing but memories. There are no real senses or karmendriyas, jnanendriyas there. Only the samskars of karmendriyas, jnanendriyas are functioning in our dream. Again, in our dream, there is no proactive doing anything. I don't decide, choose, do, not do. There is no, that doership is not there in dream. I only see, I know my dream. I become the knower of the dream and the enjoyer of the dream. The bhoktrutva and jnatrutva is there. Again, in our dream, there is no connection, means everything which happens there, it just comes, whatever samskars are there, it comes. There is no systematic connection in a dream. For example, I am walking in my dream, suddenly I will see myself in a car. Next moment I will be seeing myself in a party. So how from walking you appeared in the car? How did you enter the car? There is no connection there. There is no logical sequential connection of things happening in dream. It just happens randomly. Whatever the samskars, accordingly it comes. Sometimes it might appear very sequential and systematic, depending on your samskar, but sometimes it just turns. And it doesn't follow any laws of physics or something in our dream. I might see myself flying, jumping from the mountains. Physically, in the Jagrat Avastha, person may be lame, having some problem with his legs, but in the dream he might be running. So, when I cut off, now listen carefully, when I separate myself from the physical body, the sense of doership gets dropped. I only experience the joys and sorrows as revealed by my mind, by the samskar. I become the knower and enjoyer there. And I cannot proactively do any action. Therefore, whatever happens in my dream, there is no papa and punya for that. If I do something bad in my dream, I don't wake up and I don't have to do any prashchit for that. Nobody blames me for that. If this is understood, which we experience every day when we go to sleep, the Svargaloka, Narakaloka is also at this level where we are separated from our physical body, but we continue to exist. But there is no sense of doership there. So we are helplessly under the sway of our karmas which we have done. If we have done lot of papa karma, then we go to Naraka and experience all the torture and the suffering there. If we have acquired lot of punya, we experience all joys. But it is a world, subtle world, like the dream, which is, though I don't control it, but it is controlled by that Hiranyagarbha, and it is controlled by so many devtas. They have control over that world. So if I experience and I know and I contemplate on the experience of dream, I will know the possibility of Swarga and Naraka. But they are there. So these lokas are there, which we acquire after we drop this physical body. Therefore, deep contemplation on this our dream, how it happens, and how we get separated from our physical body. And even when separated from the physical body, I continue to exist. So even when a person leaves the physical body, when one dies, we continue to exist as though nothing has happened. But there is no sense, there is that that doership gets taken away. So in the waking, when we feel that I am the doer, I am really not the doer. Means I, who is identified with this body, is not the doer. In the waking also, that Vaishvanara is the doer. I, as Vaishvanara, am the doer. So Swargaloka is there, where we gain some special pleasures. So Bhagavan says, Te tam bhuktva Swargalokam vishalam. They enjoy the Vishal Swargaloka, the mighty heaven. The great heaven is enjoyed by these people who have acquired punya. And according to our punya, the intensity and the length period for which one can stay in Swarga and always determined. So te tam bhuktva Swargalokam vishalam. Vishal Swargalok. There suddenly you might find, अरे शर्मा जी आप भी है स्वर्ग में? हाँ, मैं भी हूँ. रोज मैं जाता था ना मंदिर में और बहुत पूजा पाठ करता था, इसलिए आ गया यहाँ पर. बट आपके मामा जी नहीं दिखाई देते. नहीं, मामा जी नहीं आ गए. मामा जी did not believe in Swargalok and he used to curse and say all sorts of bad things. I heard he has gone to Narakalok only. So these lokas are there. So te tam bhuktva Swargalokam vishalam. But how long can one stay in Swargalok? Bhagavan says, Kshine punne. As we live in Swargalok, our punya karma becomes less and less. Punya karma gets spent in Swargalok. There is no proactive doing anything, just that the karmas get spent there. So kshine punne, once the karmas get all spent, then what happens? We are sent away from Swargalok. Martyalokam vishanti. Then directly come back to this Martyalok, this earth, wherein we experience death. Constant decay and dying is experienced on earth. All the time we are moving towards death. So one comes back to Karol Bagh or whichever place, as human being or as animal, bird, plant. All this depends on karma. All these are controlled by our karma only. These are all great laws of karma are there, which are very, very, what you call, perfect. It happens according to these laws. So, kshine punye martya lokam vishanti. Evam, thus Bhagavan says, Traidharmyam anuprapannaha. Those who follow these rituals mentioned in the Vedas, see, they are not bad, but they have their own limitations. So those who sincerely follow these rituals, do them as guided by the Vedas. So evam traya dharmyam anuprapannaha gatagatam kama kama labante. These people are kama kami, means they desirers of desires, seekers of pleasures, pleasure hunters. They want pleasures in life because their thinking and their understanding has not gone beyond pleasures. They just don't understand the idea of moksha. They just don't understand that there can be something higher than pleasures, higher than security and pleasure. So those who are having this limited understanding and thinking capacity, they are called kama kami, desirers of desires. So what do they gain through this swarga and all? Bhagavan says they gain gatagatam. They go there and again come back. And because of this samskar, again they continue to do the same thing. Again they go to Swarga, again they come back. So they are the constant travelers to Swarga. Some of them get a season's ticket also. They come to earth, because of their past samskar, they continue to do those rituals again. Again they go to Swarga. They stay there for some time. Then again they come back. So Bhagavan says, Gata gatam kama kama labhante. Shankaracharya ji writes that they don't gain any swatantrata. They don't get any freedom. Gata gatam eva natu swatantrayam kvachid labhante. They are under the bondage of karma. Wherever their karmas send them, they go there. Once the karmas are over, they come back. Again accumulate more karma, again they go. So here Bhagavan is showing us not only the truth about Swarga and Naraka and all, because they are mentioned, Shastras they reveal, and Bhagavan himself has said, so he will not tell a lie. But Bhagavan also revealed the limitations of these results. We have seen before also that even after attaining Brahmalok, one can come back. If one has collected punya only to go to Brahmalok and enjoy, their punya also gets exhausted and they again return to Martyaloka. So Bhagavan is presenting this to show the limitations of karma and upasana, the results of karma and upasana, and making us understand the beauty and greatness of worshipping Ishvara and attaining Him. Because after attaining Ishvara, there is no more return to the samsara. Yad gatva na nivartante tad dhama paramam mama. So you contemplate on this. It's very beautiful. And mainly you contemplate and understand your swapna experience. Because all that is said in the scriptures are all understandable. Scriptures do not talk about things which we cannot understand. With the help of our everyday experiences of Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti, we can understand all that is said in the scriptures. We may not, as a living on this earth, we may not see the Swarga, but we understand the possibility of the Swarga through our experiences, and it is there When we have proper faith in the scriptures, we will be convinced about all these things. Okay? So contemplate, think. More about this we will see in our class on Monday. So tomorrow we will have chutti, holiday. And we will continue on Monday. I will give you some questions to ponder and to answer. And we will meet again on Monday. Till then, you take care, be happy, safe, peaceful, healthy. Do your work, do your sadhana, contemplate, meditate, do upasana, and we meet again day after tomorrow. Hari Om. Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram. 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 Jaya Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram. बोलिए सियावर रामचंद्र भगवान की जय. ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते. ओम शांति शांति शांतिः. हरिः ओम. श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः. हरिः ओम.